How you doing, guys? I'm back. This time with a overview of part of Helloween's discography, most notably of the Andi Deris era. This is a video that's been in my head for a while, and hopefully we can roll through this with some sort of cohesion and semblance. But I've really realized over the last couple of years how big of a fan of Helloween I am. This band has been out and doing what they do since 1984, and they've a lot of ways achieved the unthinkable by well, think about it, they've changed their lead singer twice, which doing so once is usually the death of a band, because what is a lead singer but they are the voice, the very identity of your band. Yeah, your riffs, your guitar playing, your songwriters can all be intact. The sound, all that stuff can be intact, but you take a singer, someone who has identified with on your past material, take them out of the equation, insert somebody new, and you have a completely different feel. Helloween started off with Kai Hansen, one of the original founding members of this band. He was the lead singer. The early material with Kai Hansen, very strong characteristic, and very much a speed metal feel with him at the helm. Ever since I heard this band on the Doomsday News compilation doing the song Starlight, I was hooked. Like power metal mixed with speed metal. They definitely were one of the founding fathers of that whole movement. And through After Walls of Jericho, Kai was sick of singing, so he stepped down, and they employed Michael Kiske, who was very much a from the Rob Halford, Bruce Dickinson school of crooning. Very good, soulful singer, but with nice, strong operatic highs. And in a lot of ways, the band really blossomed into a worldwide commercial success on the backs of Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 and 2. Fantastic records, both of them to this day, timeless. They hold up great. And after that, Kai Hansen leaves, and the band picks up Roland Grapow, who was a great songwriter, and a good replacement for Kai, even though it changes the formula a little bit. Pink Bubbles Go Ape, I like a lot of that album. A good half to 3/4 of that album I like. It gets a little boring towards the end, but, you know, it was a band in flux, and they entered into a long court dispute with their then label Noise International, Noise Records, that went on and went on and went on, and it came to Chameleon. This would be Michael Kiske's last album with Helloween, and I've owned this album. This is the second time I've owned this album, and I can say both times I'm just not a fan. This is like the only album in their entire catalog that just has not clicked with me. The band were fighting. The band was just getting off of their whole long ordeal with court shit, and Kiske leaves the band, which, again, here you are, set back to square one, losing a very prominent voice, identity of your band. From there, Helloween employed Andi Deris, who is from the band Pink Cream 69, which I can honestly say to this day I've never heard, and I will check out eventually, but man, with the stupid name like Pink Cream 69, let's be honest, not really too interested in what they're selling, to be honest, but it could be great. And for the longest time during this era of the 90s, I was so enamored with heavy, brutal death metal and, you know, first wave black metal, and just starting to get into the second wave black metal. It was just about to hit. A lot of this yeah, I like the nostalgic flavor of, like earlier Helloween stuff and some other traditional metal bands back in my earlier days, which still to this day I adore. But at that time, I just wanted to hear heavy and brutal. So when Master of the Rings came out in 1994, I really did not care what Helloween was doing. And Andi at the time, I did hear some songs. Andi's vocals just seemed lacking in power and weaker than Kiska's. And it wasn't until 2 or 3 years ago, the band reunited with Kai Hansen and Michael Kiske, and they played Wacken. And there was a live stream of the show on Wacken website, which I watched. And for the first time, I don't have, as the older I've gotten, I don't cling to this super brutal, I have to be heavy all the time nonsense. And heavy metal, power metal, all different forms of metal, I'm really welcoming in my listening repertoire, so it seems. Yes, for the nostalgia factor and just for the fact that it's great and it's good to have some diversity. But anyway, this set that they played for Wacken, I was hearing a lot of these songs for the first time, standing up against the classics with Kiske singing. Of course, Kiske still sounds amazing. If any of you have not heard him and Kai Hansen's side band Unisonic, check it out. Kiske is prime, still on top form. Fucking awesome. But anyway, I'm hearing a lot of these Andi Deris songs for the first time, and I was quite taken aback by how much I liked the guy. I liked his stage presence. I liked his the style of his voice. I love the character in his voice, and I really love the uniqueness of his voice. He sings kind of differently. I mean, live it's a little less polished than it is in the studio, but wow, light switch went on, and I'm like, holy shit, I really need to change my opinion that I've held since I was much younger and much more ignorant. And I checked out 1994's Master of the Ring. I'm getting a glare from no matter where I'm at. This album was Andi Deris' first album with Helloween, and with this album, Helloween forged on, even leaning into maybe even more commercial ideas, but still maintaining their strong, unfaltering heavy metal spirit. They still sound like Helloween. Roland Grapow was very much a strong addition, and he brought in a little bit more of a heavy metal leanings, a little less speed metal, but between him and Michael Wiki, they call him Wiki. Wyketh, I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly. What a duo. This album is great, and not only did it have Wiki and Roland's songs on this album, Andi brought some of his own songs, which they fit right in. Again, a little more commercial, but this is a band that could have rode out the rest of their career just going and playing a handful of classics and this entire album, and I think people probably would have been happy. They could have pulled a Kiss move, but they haven't. They've stayed relevant over the years, and they continue to kick ass, which we'll get to that later. But this album, Master of the Rings, is fantastic. Soul Survivor, Where the Ring Grows, and my personal favorite on here, Why. It's like one of my favorite Andi Deris songs on Helloween, Why. It's just a great fucking heavy metal song. And all of these songs are so well written. What are some other good ones on here? Perfect Gentleman, cheesy content, but it's so fucking catchy. The harmonies are rich, they're earworms, and what I've really always loved about Helloween, and he's like an unsung hero, is Marcus Grosskopf. He's also an original member of the band, and his bass playing is Steve Harris level awesome, and he's got a great tone that cuts through the mix. He really knows how to sell a riff with his accents. But this album is classic. I mean, when this album came out, in Japan alone, it sold 120,000 copies. That's not including the rest of the world. This was a huge success. This and the next couple albums were a very huge success for Helloween. And it really solidified the power and of Deris's vocals, his songwriting contributions, his character live, and it really proves that Helloween made a great choice in employing this guy. And also, a little fun fact, the song Mr. Ego was dedicated to Michael Kiske. Apparently, he had a bit of an ego towards the end of the Chameleon thing. That's another reason why he either left or got kicked out. I don't know the story. I don't know exactly, but this is a fantastic album. If you're going to investigate the Deris era, start here because it's great. And it comes with a bonus disc. I mean, all this shit is still readily available. I mean, I don't have any originals of any of this stuff, except maybe on cassette. I have acquired some of that on cassette too. But this has got a whole nother disc with 6 tracks. I Stole Your Love, a Kiss cover, Cold Sweat, which is a Thin Lizzy cover. It's got Star Invasion. It's got some basically tracks that were on the B-sides of the singles that came out during this era. But fantastic record. It definitely righted Helloween ship to keep going on into Time of the Oath. This is another one that they could probably play this album from front to back live, and the crowds would be happy with it. This is We Burn, such a great song. There's so much driving force in these songs. We Burn, Steel Tormentor, Power, which was another single from this album. Very commercial, but it still to this day is in their set list. Kings Will Be Kings, The Time of the Oath, which is a Greppow song. It's really a great song. Disc 2 has got, again, B-sides that were on the singles that came out during this time. Electric Eye being one of the songs, and some other. There's 8 tracks on the second disc, so definitely check this out. And I will say, the thing about both of these albums, this one came out in 96. Both of these albums are very much the sound of the 90s. And still very much being recorded analog. Maybe not this one. I think it probably is. But it just has that. Let's face it, modern recording techniques is very much stooped in perfection, flawlessness. Both of these albums have a very mystical feel to them, a roomy live sound to them. They're excellently recorded, and it completely fits the classic heavy metal aesthetic. But this is a concept album, the band's first concept album. I couldn't remember to tell you what the meaning of it all was, but another very strong statement. And again, it paid off for the band. Andi again proves himself on this record, and it is widely praised in the press and the fans alike. Coming out of that, we've got Better Than Raw. I got this as a promo when it came out back in 1998. I listened to it a few times. Excuse me. I liked it, but again, I was still of the mindset, at this time it was black metal. Death metal, I'd kind of been like, death metal, I'm tired of you, black metal's my thing. And the thing about this album is the overall positivity, the niceness, the happiness sounding of it. For my must be in the woods, in makeup, evil mentalities, could not. I enjoyed some of the songs, but I'm just like, I'm over this. I'm beyond this. Well, hearing this album again, God, so good. So good. There's a lot of classics on this album. There's a lot of commercial classics on this album. This is, I don't know. I can't remember which album Uli Kush came in. I think he came in on this one. But Uli Kush is a very popular drummer, German drummer. He was also in Gamma Ray. He writes 4 or 5 songs on this, one of which being Revelation, which has that speed metal edge to it and could have been on Keeper 1 or Keeper 2. It's a lot of ways he helped bring the band into back to that older spirit on some of the songs on this album. Let's see, Push, Falling Higher, Hey Lord, Handful of Pain. Every single song on this album is gold. It really is. I mean, it's so well written, so mature. It's a band that knows what the hell they are, knows what the hell they want. They're not ashamed of being who they are. And really, these 3 albums is the trilogy, to be honest, the perfect trilogy. There is not a bad song really on any of these songs, on any of these albums. And it's a band that's on fire and locked in. Next one up is The Dark Ride. I've seen some interviews where this came out in 2000. Wiki saying that he doesn't like this album that much. It was too dark. It was them trying to glom on to, the whole grunge thing. It's like, I keep hearing this story over and over again. I mean, I lived through the early metal stuff, the death metal, the black metal, the grunge. I like some grunge. And I understand, like thrash metal. Thrash metal was pretty much knocked on the head by grunge. And a lot of bands like Exodus, a lot of bands like Violence and Forbidden, all kind of, instead of sticking to what they were and what they knew, they tried to shift into more of a less jagged, more rounded off tone to try to, I mean, even Kiss did it on their Carnival of Souls. Is that the name of it? I mean, I like that album, but everybody tried to adhere to the trend of the day instead of being who they were. And this, I hear somewhat some of that on here. It's a little darker here and there, but honestly, it still sounds to me like Helloween, just dealing with darker tones, darker ideas. I mean, I think Mr. Torture was one of the singles, and it's a good song. Sounds like Helloween, If I Could Fly. Yeah, I mean, it's a great album, and this is actually Uli Kush's last album with the band, and also the long-standing replacement for Kai Hansen, Roland Grapow. He also left, and him and Uli started a band called Master Plan, which is really good. I've only got one of their albums. I've heard a couple others. It reminds me of a heavy metal Foreigner, but it's still really solid, really well written. But that's not for this video. But The Dark Ride is good. I think a lot of people consider this to be their last truly great album. I don't know if it's as great as the 3 that came before, but I still enjoy it. I don't listen to it as much as I should, but I do enjoy this album. Next up is an album that I also got this as a promo, and I don't even know if I listened to it, because you look at this cover, and the album is called Rabbit Don't Come Easy. This came out in 2003. I mean, I don't know who's doing their marketing or their design or their ideas in this. Maybe it's the band themselves, but let's be honest. This shit is stupid. Okay? It's stupid. This is Sasha Gersner, his first album with the band. Who is still with the band to this day. A very talented writer, a very talented guitar player, very talented. I mean, damn near perfect guitar player. Good singer. But coming back to this album after the fact, I like it. I listen to this album regularly. Open Your Life. The tune, Never a Star. Don't Stop Being Crazy. Hell Was Made in Heaven, which was written by Marcus Grosskopf. Basically, this is a band full of very talented songwriters, and they can all take their turns writing for Helloween, and it still sounds like Helloween, and it still can produce an excellent Helloween album. Fun fact about this album, Mickey D from King Diamond and Motorhead played session drums on this album. He doesn't go crazy. He doesn't do a tons of crazy, King Diamond, them era fills and ride swells and all that shit. He plays it pretty straight, but it's solid, and it's a good album. If you can get past the artwork that they just beat into the ground on this shit. I mean, good solid heavy metal album. It's got aggressive Helloween, it's got commercial Helloween, and it all sits comfortably together, and it's great. Next up is probably of the Deris era, my least favorite album by them, 2005, Keeper of the Seven Keys, The Legacy. This is a 2-disc set, and it's not because they put bonus songs on it. It's a concept album, and it is almost 80 minutes worth of. They probably could have put this on one CD. Now that I'm looking at it, it'd have been close. It's a concept album. It's good. There's some good songs. King for 1,000 Years is a great song. Mrs. God is a commercial. They released it for a video and it's pretty cheesy, but it's catchy. I mean, typical Helloween earworm. It just seems kind of like they're really trying to force the concept, trying to force out 2 discs worth of material to fit their narrative on this album. And, you know, it's good. It still sounds like Helloween. When I listen to it, I don't dislike it. But it just really doesn't ring up there as memorable as the rest of their discography. It is notable that Danny Lobel, this is his first album, who is still their drummer for this day. This is the first album, again, it came out in 2005, to solidify the lineup that the band still has. So that is a definite notable. And Danny Lobel, he is a machine, a fucking unrelenting machine. Very tasteful drummer, very powerful, hard-hitting, inventive. The guy is great and an excellent addition to this band. Next up is 2007's Gambling with the Devil. My son likes this one quite a bit. This is Helloween. It started with this album, but this is Helloween modernizing their sound, trying to being who they are, standing within the creative pool that they have made for themselves, but modernizing their sound as far as recording techniques, maybe getting slicker amps or amp sims at this point. Who knows what went into this album. But it's a very hard-hitting album as far as tone goes, and then tracks like Kill It are very aggressive. Man, this fucking text is small. The Saints, great song. As Long as I Fall, that is, I would say, a Deris song just because it's very commercial. There's a very poppy synth tone to it. But it's, again, a very catchy song. I'm not going to lie to you. It's good shit. The Bells of the Seven Hells, IME, Heaven Tells No Lies. This is a great album. Is this a 2 CD as well? Yeah. The good thing about getting this shit later, I mean, the last year and a half, 2 years, I've been scrambling to pick up all this stuff. And a lot of it has been reissued with second CDs of bonus stuff. This has more B-side stuff and I think a video track on it, which whoever watches those. Do you watch those? I don't fucking watch those. But this is a good album. Again, whoever does their design and their cover, I mean, it's all computerized stuff. It's kind of like the route that Iron Maiden went with Dance of Death. But it's kind of lame. I think this stuff, if they employed a better art director, and I mean, it doesn't get worse than this, to be honest with you. Computerized fucking rabbits. But come on. Better cover. I think this would have been maybe a little more applauded, maybe, because it's a good album. Good songs on there. Next up, this is the first, when I started buying the shit after witnessing that concert and saying, hey, Andi Deris, he kicks ass. I picked up Seven Sinners. This is the first one I picked up. And was blown away. Again, it's modernized Helloween. They're heavy. They're well produced. Where the Sinners Go, the first song, has a very catchy riff. Simple. Da-na-na. I mean, that's the hook. 3 notes, 3 chords. Well, it's one chord, three notes. It's a good hook, and it carries on throughout here. Is this the song? Yeah, this has got Who is Mr. Madman? It's like a reprise of the Perfect Gentleman song. It's just a great Helloween song that's got some speed metal, some of that speed metal aggression. My kid loves that song, and he likes the CD too, which at the time, what was he, 8? And that was, with all the garbage he'd been listening to up to that point, the fact that he was glomming onto Helloween kind of made me go, okay, I need to get more of this shit just to try to drive that nail into his brain that someday when I'm dead and gone, he can say, oh, I liked heavy metal. My old man turned me on to some good shit. Does that sound like a lame thing to pass down? Maybe, but that's what I was thinking anyway. But this is a great album. Again, I don't dislike any of the songs on this thing. Again, modern Helloween. Stylized and looking sharp. Good shit. After that, we've got 2013 Straight Out of Hell. This is another computer-generated shitstorm of a... this album cover may not be as bad. But, another good one. Nabatea. There's a video off this album. Really good. Song, aggressive, strong Helloween, very great, powerful vocals. World of Wars, awesome. Live Now, Far From the Stars, Burning Sun. Waiting for the Thunder is the super commercial, super catchy poppy metal song. It's fucking great. I mean, Wanna Be God isn't a great song. It's just kind of like a little small snippet. And then the song Asshole, I think that is a Sasha song. It's not all that. That's not a very good song. Other than maybe a couple songs, this is a solid album. I just listened to this the other day. Probably I drove around with it in the truck for a week because it is so catchy and good. Again, Helloween, staying on point, not trying anything stupid, definitely sticking with what they are. And this album, before the big change happened, this came out in 2015. This is My God-Given Right. Again, computer-generated stupidity for a cover. It gets worse. There it is. This album rules, and I'm not even going to lie. Every song on here, I like. Every single song. It's super catchy. It's got heavy moments. It's got commercial moments. Heroes, Battles Won, My God-Given Right, which was the video and single for this album. Lost in America. Super catchy. Swing of the Fallen World. There is not a bad song on this album. And it kind of cemented my idea that, once Helloween reformed with Hansen and Kiske, I kind of knew what was coming. I knew it was coming. And to be honest, I like this body of material so much that I was thinking, I don't want this to happen. I don't want it to happen. I enjoy Unisonic. I think that band could exist on its own and be just fine. I enjoy Gamma Ray. Pretty much all of it. I pretty much enjoy all the Gamma Ray stuff. Again, that can exist on... Although I hear Kai step down from vocals and they got another guy singing for him now, which I'm not real excited to even hear what that is. I'm sure the guy's good, but I don't really care. But I was just thinking, Kai and Hansen coming back in, or Kai and Michael coming back, the band would focus on the nostalgia, and the Andi material and the Andi presence would be slowly driven out in favor of commercial success, which has not happened. And for that, this has come out since then. This is the United Alive. This has their Sao Paulo show. This has moments of the Wacken show that I saw live via webcast. It is really tasteful and awesome the way they split up the songs. Andi would come out for some of his songs. Michael would come out for some of his songs. Kai would come out and do a medley of the old classic speed metal shit. how they broke up the songs within the songs and traded back and forth on the vocals. It was a very all-encompassing, very well done and organized and composed reunion. They seem like they're having fun. And they put out a single to help sell the tour, which all of a sudden I can't fucking remember the name of it. It is... why can't I remember the name of the song? Pumpkins United. God. They're kind of driving the Pumpkins United thing home. And they wrote a song for it. It was a one-song single. It was way too much money to get imported, so I did not buy it, and I did not show it because of that. Initially, I thought the song was kind of so-so forced, you know, having all three singers on it. But again, in pure Helloween fashion, it's I hope I'm still recording. Oh yeah, we're good. The song is catchy, and I think Kai and Andi did most of the writing for it. So it's got both of those worlds in there, a bit of commercialism, a bit of speed metal, a bit of power metal. It's all in there. And it kind of told me, you know what? It's really kind of cool what they're doing. They went the route of Iron Maiden. They didn't kick out old members or members that came in and replaced somebody. When the old guy came back, they kept him. If you have not seen this, definitely check it out. This is a 2-disc Blu-ray set. It's huge. There's interviews and stuff on the end of it. It's really well done. It's a nice tribute to this band's longevity and this band's dedication to what they do. And this is just as much for the fans as it is for them. I've enjoyed the shit out of this and I've watched it a lot. But here we are, and the band is in the studio this year. And I'm really looking forward to what's coming. I'm really hoping they take this ball and run with it. I hope if it's successful, that Kai and Kiske can stay in and continue to write great albums. Or if they bow out and go back to doing what they were doing, that the core band with Deris at the helm stays intact and continues to write great records. Because there is so much great music in this stack. And I'm going to show a couple of these other things here too. I did not show the Metal Jukebox, which was considered a full length because it's all covers. And I did not also show the Unarmed, which was also considered a full length, which is basically their older songs put to symphonic orchestration, which I don't own either of those. They're interesting to listen to, but I don't see them as being an essential purchase. I will get them eventually, but not. But I have picked up this other stuff. This is High Live. This came around during the, I think, what year is this? 96. This is around the time of the Oath era. It's all, no, this actually has some of the classics on there as well with Andi singing it. It's good stuff. Another one to check out is the Keeper of the Seven Keys, A Legacy World Tour, live on 3 continents. This is a double disc set, 2 DVDs, a lot of great performances. Again, good mix of stuff. And I did not show all of the live stuff. I have some other live stuff as well. But anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I realize a lot of you peg me as a mostly death and black metal guy, which I am. I like that stuff a lot. I also greatly enjoy heavy metal, and you're probably going to start seeing more and more of it because I want to try to make sure that my content is somewhat diversified. But, yeah, I mean, Helloween, they're one of my favorite bands. I mean, I can never just name one favorite band. It depends on what week it is. But Helloween are one of my favorites, and I didn't want to talk too much about the classic material because, let's face it, we all know it, we all love it. It still stands up to this day as being immortal. It is, I don't think Deris's stuff has gotten enough lip service on the VC, the metal CD, VC, whatever you want to call it. But I really appreciate you watching. I hope this didn't turn you off too much. And looking forward to hear what you have to say about the Deris stuff. Let's get chatting. You need some recommendations. I kind of just gave you 30 minutes worth, but let's talk about some Helloween. I dig it. Are you looking forward to the new album? I am. And also, there's 1 week left on my contest. There's been over 100 people that have already signed up for it. Check it out. And Friday, I'm going to do a live stream and pull names out of a hat and announce who won these test pressings. But again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope these videos have been entertaining you in times of seclusion. I know it's been helping me feel like I'm connecting to the wider world, and I appreciate all of you for commenting and interacting and watching our live streams. I think we're having another one Friday, so get ready. Talk to you later. Thanks a lot.